Today we're going to look at the salutation field. This is John Klebnick. This is our tandem training tips and trick. Salutation field is built to the contact field, and so let me start by creating a new record, and I do this by going to contact menu at the top and down to new contact. You can also press the insert key for this. And so I've placed my mouse in the contact field, and I'm going to put in a person's name. Let's say her name is Mary Smithers. As soon as I tab out of this field, down to the bottom, you see the citation is placed in here for Mary. And it lists her Mary's first name as Mary. We can go in and change this, and so if we call her Mom, we can change that as we'd like to. The two fields here, the contact field and the salutation field, I tell people to think about this. The salutation field is what would go inside the letter. Dear Mary, dear Mom, dear Betty, dear Fred, a more colloquial and friendly way to address someone. The contact name is what would go on the outside. So for example, if Mary Smithers is Dr. Mary Smithers, we can still place this in here. Now if Mary has a more complex name, for example Mary Beth, Dr. Mary Beth Smithers, in that case, whenever we have a complex name, more than one name, ACT will pop up a little window that lets us choose which is the first and which is the last, and if we want, which is the middle. And so if Mary Beth's first name is actually Mary Beth, I choose Mary Beth. I don't need to choose a middle name, and there's Smithers as her last name. You see, it doesn't affect the salutation other than it places the first name down there. The salutation is just a suggestion, so if I want, I can always go and overwrite that and put in Dear Mom. The contact field is also good if I have, let's say I'm trying to track more than one person. For example, if I'm doing a loan for two people and I have Dr. Mary Smithers and Tom Jacobs. Now ACT is generally one contact per record, but if you wanted to put more than one or needed to put more than one, remember, just think about this is what goes on the outside of the envelope. This envelope is going to be addressed to Dr. Mary Smithers and Tom Jacobs. Perhaps they're doing a business deal together. Inside of the contact, you just need to specify which is going to be your first and last name. So if I'm generally conversing with Mary Smithers, I want to choose Smithers as the last name, and just the first name is Mary. This is going to be important when I try and find Mary. If I go to look up in first name or last name, I'll need to have specified that. If you're trying to use the view bar on the left, all you've got, and you're trying to find Tom Jacobs, they'll pop up once we've saved, because that field contains Tom Jacobs. So now when I type in Tom Jacobs, there it found my record. So this view bar on the left is a much better way to do that. Now down below under salutation, we need to manually set this. Maybe we want to say Dear Mary and Tom, or you can say Dear Dr. Smithers and Mr. Jacobs. It's up to you. Now the program has a way to default the salutation either to the first name or to the last name, and this is done through Tools and Preferences, and on the General tab, Salutation Preferences, you can choose how this is done here. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. This is John Klebnick, Tandem Training and Consulting. Our website, acttrainer.com. Hope you can call us soon. Thank you. Okay, the question today was, how do I create a history when I add someone to a group? And there's two types of groups. There's static groups and dynamic groups. Let me show you quickly what I mean by that. We've got a contact here, Mary Beth Smithers and Tom Jacobs. If I go to my Groups tab here, I can click Add or Move Groups, and I can find a group called, for example, Gold, and I can add Mary Beth to that group. The problem is, if I go and look at history, even if I refresh history with the F5 key, I've got no history of this. So what I want to do is I want to use the ID status field. I'm going to put a value of gold here, which there already is one. I'm going to click on that. But before I do, I want to go up to the top, Tools, Define Fields. And I'm going to tell ACT that I would like a history created whenever ID status is changed. So here's ID status. I go to Edit Field. As you see, Generate History is already selected, so I don't need to do anything else to this. So now, for example, I'm going to go to ID status. I'm going to select gold, and I'm going to save my record. And you see here, field change, ID status change from nothing to gold. So that's the history that you're going to want. The next step we want to do is we want to go to groups. And I'm going to go to that gold group here. And actually, I'm going to take out Mary Beth and Tom as a static member of that group. And I'm going to set the criteria, or see the criteria, that the criteria says if the contact ID status contains the word gold, put them in the group. So you see they are in the group. I go back to groups, go back to contacts, and for example, Mary Beth and Tom are no longer gold. Deselect gold, change them to friend. As soon as I save the record, you'll see that the history has changed, that we've changed them from gold to friend. I go back to groups, we can see that they have left the group. So that is how you create a history when someone is added to a group. This is John Klubnik from Tandem Training. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.